Good evening. I hope you've been having a very happy Easter, even as we are in our homes during this pestilence, but don't let that get us down, right? Look at these readings from our daily offices this evening. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in the ancient days, as in the generations of old. Ooh, what are some of the old things he did that he should be repeating, or what kind of activities or genre or brand of things should he be doing? Well, aren't you not the one that cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? All right. Rahab's often a stand-in, first of all, for Egypt. And then this dragon-like imagery. Rahab was this mythical beast in the ancient Near East. In the false religions, the gods would often defeat a beast, cut it up, and out of that came the world or something else. Um, a lot of it, though, is who can defeat the dragon or tame the dragon or whatever. Well, God is the one who destroys the serpent, who destroys the dragon. You can also think in terms of Leviathan too, where he's sovereign over it. But this one is more of an enemy. Sometimes Leviathan's just there. He's wild. He's not safe, but he's there. This one, it is a dragon. It's the enemy of the people. And Egypt certainly was that. Pharaoh was certainly that. And God just chopped him up. He washed him away in the Red Sea. He dried the sea waters for the ransom to pass over. And again, this is reference to the generations of old, the generation that enjoyed the first Passover. Now the redeemed of the Lord shall return, singing unto Zion, thinking again of exiles returning. Everlasting joy shall be upon their head, not temporary joy, everlasting joy. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. I, even I, am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shouldst be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the Son of Man which shall be made as grass, and forgettest the Lord thy Maker, that has stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth? Don't let your fears get ahead of you, folks. Of others, of diseases, right? Be afraid of him, but in a good way, because he's good towards you. He's made everything. He can remake everything. He sets us free from the bondage of death, loosed from our chains. He's the glory that divided the sea, both in Genesis, but also in Exodus, and also thinking in terms of baptismal imagery of death to life. Lord of hosts is his name. Talking about the Messiah and the Zion, knowing that we are God's people. We are God's people as true Zion. All right. For our New Testament reading, we have Emmaus, the road to Emmaus. So 80 furlongs from Jerusalem, a village called Emmaus. And these guys are wondering, thinking, communing together, reasoning, all these things that have been happening with the death and resurrection of Jesus. And then Jesus shows up. But they didn't know it was him. It was hidden from them. And he's like, what are y'all talking about? And why are you walking? Why are you so sad? And Cleopas says, like, first of all, are you hiding under a rock? And he says, well, here's what happened. Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty indeed, and word before God and all the people. And they know that the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and they crucified him, but we are astonished that were early at the sepulchre. Oh, sorry. Which have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the third day since these things were done. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. They found no body. So, and they had seen a vision of angels telling he was alive. And they found it so, as the women said, but him they saw not. So that's the last report they got. They didn't see any appearance of Jesus yet. And they didn't believe the women. And then Jesus says, the fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered these things and entered into his glory? And Then he schools them. He says, beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. All the Bible's about Jesus. And thus, Jesus being fully revealed in his resurrection, right? In all his glory. The resurrected Lord reveals the Bible. By that, I'm talking about this is sort of in him teaching these guys the Bible. This is what the Bible's about. But also, he's the key to understanding the scripture. If you're reading the Bible and you're not finding Jesus in the pages of the Holy Writ, and not just the New Testament, but the Old as well, you're not reading it right, because it's about Jesus. And he's telling them this. And he's like, is this really that surprising to you? And he goes through how God has telegraphed, in a sense. Telegraphing is when you kind of let a person know your move in boxing. Like, listen, this is a right hook. It's going to come at you. What are you going to do about it? God has been telegraphing his redemption he's going to bring to his people. It's just, I think they lost the hope of it. Some of them didn't. But this idea of this is what I'm going to do, it was still weird. It's still hidden from their eyes, but Jesus revealed it. And Moses and all the prophets teach us this. All the Bible is the Bible, and it's all about Jesus. And they go to Emmaus and then abide with us. And they tarried with him. And he took bread, blessed it, brake it, gave them, and their eyes were open. They knew him, and he vanished out of sight. Jesus is also revealed in the breaking of bread, which is a point about communion, Holy Communion, the Lord's Supper. He breaks the bread, and in the breaking of bread, we come to know Jesus and know him more fully. And and they look back and like, oh, did not our hearts burn within us when he talked with us, by the way, while he opened to us the scriptures? Well, yes. And those of us who are disciples of Christ, when we read the scriptures, our hearts should burn within us as well. As we come across him and as he explains things to us by his Spirit and by his word. And then they returned to Jerusalem, found the 11, and they said, look, the Lord's risen indeed and has appeared to Simon. And they told what things were done the way. What is known them, and listen to this, how he was known of them in breaking of bread. It's intentional. This is pointing us to not just the written text, but also the written word, I should say, the written textual word, but also the word we feed on. And that is something I'm looking forward to do once it's safe to do so, and we can come together and we will break the bread and we will come to know the Lord better in the breaking of that bread. So I wish you all a very happy Easter. And may you rejoice in knowing the resurrected Christ in all the scriptures and in the breaking of bread and in every moment